Welcome to Season 3 of the Get Out of Teaching podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Diakos. In each episode of this season, I'll be coaching a teacher around one aspect of their move out of education. You'll have the privilege of listening in on the powerful coaching conversations that move people closer to a life they love. So come along for the ride as we get out of teaching. Episode 7. Hi everyone and welcome to the show. And on today's show, I'm very pleased to be interviewing, or not really interviewing, but having a coaching conversation with Alicia. Thanks, Alicia, for coming today.
Of course, Elizabeth. Thank you for having me.
So, Alicia, can you just briefly fill in the audience about how we know each other?
Sure. I've been in international education for about 10 years, and I have felt a change coming. And my current situation, I'm in Vienna, Austria. I was hired to work in China, but never made it. And waking up extremely early in the morning to teach remotely into China, trying to keep a toddler and a house together during the pandemic. The whole thing just kind of came together and to make a space and open a window for me to finally kind of move forward with this career change that I've been thinking about. And I found the group Get Out of Teaching on Facebook, was really inspired by a lot of the other teachers, did the triage call with Elizabeth, and we connected, we hit it off and started working together.
Nice. And we've been working together since just before Christmas, like only a few days before Christmas. And you're in my coaching program that's going to end in June. And from there, hopefully you'll be moving as well to Africa, if all things go well.
Yes.
The plan is in place. Yeah.
Yes.
No. Okay, yes, so exactly. You were going to come on this conversation today with a topic that we could or try to resolve in about 15 to 20 minutes. So what have you brought to the table today?
I am having a really hard time between, I'm still teaching into China, but part-time. I dropped back, mothering my toddler, being a good wife to my husband, doing all the stuff that goes along with that teaching, but then also really trying to dig into this career change, figure out where I'm going, making plans, taking courses, and just really balancing all of the things that are going on right now. It's a lot of stuff.
Okay, so what would make this an awesome conversation for you then? What would you like to go away with?
I'd like to go away with some practical strategies about how to figure out kind of a weekly, daily plan. Like, how do I structure my time so that I feel like I'm getting everything I want to get done, and that I'm being responsible with the extra time that I've given myself stepping back from teaching, but also being a good mother and wife and playing all of the roles that I have to play as well as I can.
Okay. So there's a real sense of maybe sort of a balance issue, or if you think about it as like, when you've got a sound system and you raise the levels of different sort of the treble and the bass, and that's all I know about. I don't know any further than that.
Make it sound right.
Those other knobs, whatever they are, those slider things. To make the sound balance. And so it sounds like there's kind of like you've got to make some adjustments in your week in order to get that balance right. And that's a challenge because you've got to get up super early because you're actually teaching remotely into another country altogether in a different time zone. But you've still got to function in the world of the time zone that you're in.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it's a pretty unique situation and quite challenging. And I know that you've been working really hard to get all this working together. But I do have some inside information that Alicia hasn't shared just now, that she just had underestimated somewhat how long it would actually take to do her prep for the next couple of months in order to be finished, like have all her preparation done till the end of the school year. So that I know that there was a bit of disappointment around that for you.
Oh, for sure. I also forgot how much time projects take. So my kids just had a really big project with reports that were due, and just grading takes me forever. I'm too particular when I grade, and so it takes me ages. And even if something that helps me to grade faster, I don't know, I just have to make sure that I'm more, I use my time well.
Right. Okay. And so is that something you want to talk about just for a minute, the grading? Because I totally have been where you're at.
Yeah. We both teach very subjective subjects, right? So design and art. I'm a design teacher, and you look at it and you have to grade it, and you're like, it's very subjective. And I've done it for 6 years, and I've struggled with it for 6 years,
Yeah. Yeah. So do you have an assessment rubric for that?
Yeah, I teach IB. But it's like, they state it, they describe it, they analyze it. So there's no, there's description words, but it's not right or wrong, it's the amount of detail they use in their answers. So it's hard scale to work with.
And you're giving them a number out of 100 or something?
The top number is 8. So it's a 0 to 8 scale.
Okay. And are they getting that for every part of the rubric?
Mm-hmm. So there's 4 parts to usually one assignment, and you grade all 4 kind of pieces, and then you look for an overall grade for the assignment.
And is the overall grade an addition of the 4 parts?
It's a best fit grade. So if they forget one, you give that part a 0, but they do really well in another part, you have to find the best fit. So it's not an average, and it's not an addition of all of them.
Right.
So then it becomes subjective again at the end.
Yeah, of course. Okay. So the rubric part's okay?
Yeah, I get the rubric. It's hard for me to look at a piece and know what it is without reading every single sentence. And, you have how many kids, and then each assignment is 5 pages long, and it just gets overwhelming very quickly. Yeah. Do they do any, I guess they can't do self-assessment. It's a bit hard when you're not in the same room. I'm trying actually tomorrow with my grade 8 class. I'm having them do a self-assessment to help me get a gauge on where, because they have to be able to know how their grade is. They have to be able to do that. It's a skill too. So stepping them through what I do when I assess a piece and having them do that self-assessment. And that'll help me grade that particular assignment. Right. I don't do that all the time. I should do it more often.
That's smart. Okay. So you just said I should do that more often. What are the downsides of why wouldn't you do it?
I don't know. I forget. I don't trust. The younger they are, the less I can kind of trust that that's as accurate as it could be. And then I just end up grading their self-assessment and then actually grading their paper again. So sometimes it doubles the work depending on how accurate they are. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. I did it with I think they were grade 5s one year. I just said to them, we're grading drama performances, so subjective. And in the end, one of them was just like, you have to make us laugh. They were meant to be comedy things. And that was one of the criteria. That was surprisingly helpful because it was genuine. They knew if they had or hadn't laughed, if they thought it was funny. So it actually helped to be genuine. But, yeah, I understand why it might be more challenging. So I guess I have been in the painful place of marking uni assignments that took me longer to mark the assignments than the course ran for. So it was like, 4 days of course content and 6 days of marking. That was kind of seemed a little bit not right. So one of the things I ended up doing was just being a lot less fussy about like reading everything. And it still took me longer than I thought it should, but I cut out a lot. And also having some self-assessment I think is really important. So could you get them to self-assess that last mark, that X factor mark, or is it too hard to trust them?
No, that'll be part of it. So I'll go through each of the pieces of the assignment and explain what they're looking for so that they can give themselves a mark, and then they have to give themselves the total. and explain back why they think they deserve a 6 out of 8 and what they could do better. And they always have to point out how they can improve or do something differently the next time.
Okay. So it sounds really comprehensive what you're doing.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes tomorrow. I've done it with my like grade 10s, and grade 10s still are not as accurate as I would like them to be, but it's always a work in progress, right? And every teacher that teaches design, and I'm sure art as well, or music, they all have a bit of a different take on it, right? Mm-hmm. That's why we have to moderate grades for larger projects. You have to have 2 people grade it and then moderate it. So these, like big projects that are externally moderated by the IB. You have 2 internal moderators, because grading is subjective, like across the board in the IB, a lot of it. So it's just tough.
I used to love like messy stuff that had really lovely line work, and and then I had a colleague who wanted everything to be neat and no bits going out of anywhere, and our criteria were like the total opposite of each other, because I love that sort of really loose, like that Cy Twombly kind of look, and she was really into the much more kind of Mondrian sort of look.
Right, and that's completely personal, and then you have to grade someone else's art, but that's according to your personal subjective preference, right? And so you're just
so then you have to take it out of that, don't you? You have to take it out of the personal and make it about something else.
You have to make it very like objective as I can.
Yeah.
Like,
so when I was
describe that, you use at least 3 adjectives in your sentence, therefore you've described it.
Yes.
Like I have to.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That way. That's great. That's what you need. So,
but I've never done that in 6 years, and now I'm going to be done. So it's like, oh well. Why do it now? So the last time I'm grading assignments, I've missed the boat on making it easier on myself.
Right. Okay. So in a way, it's not worth the effort of trying to come up with a new system. Yeah.
No, because it's the last time I'm going to be grading papers, because I'm leaving teaching. Thank God.
Okay. All right. So then this is really just about making space then for the plans for the next thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And so realistically, how much time do you think you're going to need to finish the marking, say, until when?
If that's all I did, if I didn't do anything else this week, if I wasn't reading my books or listening to my podcasts or doing any kind of investigation into the actions that I set up for myself earlier this week, if I didn't do any of it and all I did was grading, I could finish it by the end of the week, I think. Right. That's like 3 days.
Wednesday morning there for you. Okay. Right. And is it so then the next question is that worth it to get that off your plate and stop thinking about it? Or is it too much? Like, will you get sort of fatigued having to do it?
I'll get fatigued. I hate it. It's the worst thing. It's one of the reasons I'm leaving. I hate grading papers. It's probably worth it in the end, because the assignments keep coming, right? So like, it's not that I stop teaching when I'm overloaded with grading. We keep moving forward, and the assignments will just keep coming in. So it's probably worth setting aside like what I want to do for what I have to do.
Right.
It doesn't sound fun though.
I'm checking in. I want to know, is it worth it or is it not? Like, there's payoffs to both.
I was really looking forward to the actions that I set up for myself.
Yeah. And they're energizing you.
Yeah. They're giving me joy.
Okay.
The other things just make me sad.
Can you use them as a reward?
Oh, that's an interesting idea. So like, I do this much grading and then I get this much time, kind of like the Pomodoro Method that I was talking about the other day, right? So I grade for an hour, I get a coffee, and then I get to do my thing for 30 minutes, and then I go do grading for an hour, like a rotational kind of.
Yeah, and that way you're breaking up, and you won't get as tired doing the grading, because after a while, you know your efficiency drops off. Yeah. Especially when you don't like doing it. You're not in flow. Right. You're in some kind of agony. It's not a good state that is kind of like a high performance state when you like that.
Right. Yeah. It's like dragging yourself through it because it's something you despise. Yeah.
Okay, so let's think about it then. I mean, I'm excited by this idea. Tell me when to stop. What if you go, do an hour and a half of grading and then half an hour of reward, which could be read a book or, I don't know, go for a walk with the podcast and have a coffee or whatever.
Right. I like that. I think too, like, what was I going to say? An hour and a half sounds like a long time to me. And the other thing that I do when I'm grading, because I hate it so much, is I let myself get distracted.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, oh, I have a paper here, but in the other window is Facebook, or, and I bounce back and forth, like as kind of a tiny reward. Oh, I finished a paper. Let me look at that thing. I finished a paper. Let me look at that thing. And I do it in a kind of these tinier bits. But then when I look at that thing, I get distracted and I get sucked in because it's social media. And that's what it does to you.
Don't do that, because it's clearly a trap we all have fallen into, I'm sure. So how long is realistic? Because I feel like an hour is not long enough, but 2 hours is too long. So I thought
an hour and a half first. The hour and a half, half an hour and a half an hour. I can try that today and see how it goes.
Okay.
And if I feel like I'm getting distracted or off track because of the amount of time, then maybe I'll try an hour.
Yeah, or even like an hour and a quarter or an hour and 10. Like I just feel like if you just got over the hour, you'd be so proud of yourself that you did it for more than an hour. How many could you get done in an hour?
I've never timed myself. I have no idea. I'm almost wondering if it's easier to count like numbers of assignments instead of time.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So if I said I'm going to grade 4 assignments and then take a break and then come back and do 4 more and take a break and then 4 more.
Yeah. Or even if you did 4, 3, 2, because over the course of the day, you might be less efficient,
I have to look at my numbers, look at how many students and how many assignments I have, so that I could plan it out through Friday.
Let's do it now.
Say, okay, well, this is okay. I'll get my class list out.
Well, I mean, at least this is kind of practical, isn't it? It's actually going to get you to where you can be on both sides.
All right, let me just open up my class list here, and then we can count it out. So, in grade 10, One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 grade 10s. But I have to do that assignment. My grade it's my grade 8s that are overwhelming for me. Let's have a quick look. Edit out the silence.
It's all right. Silence is golden. Because this is real. This is what people have to do, Teachers have to think about this stuff all the time. How do I manage this incredible workload that bores me to tears and still have a life that I don't, that I want to live, that is
right. What is there to look forward to when I'm done with all this grading? What do I get out of it? Okay. I have to make that reward really good then, I think.
Yeah, and also maybe something that doesn't involve staring at a screen if you're doing a lot of screen staring.
That's very true. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. So grade 8, I have 10 criterion Bs.
So I'm going to ask you about this next Monday on our coaching group.
I know. You're going to check in. I'm going to have to tell you.
Everyone
how fantastic.
To the episode, and they're going to ask you how it went.
Yeah. Super accountability. Just what I love. Okay. So I have, that's 20, that's 18, and that's 6. I'm bad at math. It's not my gig.
Okay.
I'm just going to get out my calculator.
It's like
6.
44, 18, isn't it?
20, 44.
Yeah.
Oh my God. See, even that sounds overwhelming to me because I know how much time each one takes me.
Okay, how much time does each one take?
Half an hour, 40 minutes.
Okay, so let's see if you can get it down to half an hour because you're going to be really efficient. If you have to do 4 before you can take a break, that's 2 hours.
That's 2 hours.
And it could be longer. Could be a bit longer. So what if you try and
2 hours.
What if you do 3?
Okay.
Or do I don't know if it's worth doing this. I guess is it worth doing 2 year 10s and 2 year 8s or something?
Yeah, the year 8s is where I fell behind.
Okay.
And that's why I have 38 of them are grade 8s.
Right. So is it better to start there just to knock them out?
Yeah. I really have to just get it finished.
And are they shorter?
There's 3 assignments each. So I'm super behind. This is probably the most behind I've ever been. And it's probably because I'm coming to the end of my teaching career.
Yeah.
Right? I'm losing motivation. I've never had this little amount of motivation in 10 years of teaching, right, because I know it's coming to an end. So they did 3 big projects. They're big project-based units in design. They've done A, B, and C, right, which is they investigate, then they develop their ideas, and then they create the thing. Mm-hmm. They've done all 3. I haven't graded. I'm back in A, right? Mm-hmm. I've graded A, B together because it's easier to see the connections, mm-hmm, and I haven't finished A, B for the whole class. So I have to have
done that before they made the thing.
Oh yeah, because mm-hmm, I haven't given them their grade or feedback. So yeah, no, this is super naughty. I really feel bad about this one. This one I'm going, oh, I failed.
So let's get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so my challenge to you is to get that all done by Thursday night.
Okay. And that's only 20. That's 20 of those.
20.
So that's not so bad.
So don't work out how you're going to do that now because we'll be here all day. But work out how many you need to do before you can take a break, and then what are you going to reward yourself with? Okay. And maybe the breaks need to be a bit 20 minutes, not 30, because you've got a lot of work to do, and maybe that's just realistically not long enough. And I mean, if I were you, I would not want to be reading a book or looking at a screen if you're looking at a screen doing all that grading. Right. So maybe do something, mm-hmm, where you go for a walk and look into the distance, literally and kind of metaphorically, look into the future. Yeah. Okay. A bright future outside of education. All right. Yes. So at the start of our conversation, you said that one of the things you wanted to work on was just getting a balance right. How are you sort of feeling about that now?
I know that balance isn't really, it's not a scale. It's never going to be like this. Because that's not the way balance in real life works. Mm-hmm. That it's more what is important right now might take precedence, and whatever is not as important can take a back seat, and we can play together like this. And right now, that's just proving I'm behind in my school responsibilities, and those have to take the lead so that I can catch up, so I don't feel this burden. Because grading for me is this, heavy thing I have to carry around if I haven't done it. So I just have to push through. And then I can let the future career investigation and all the learning that I'm doing, that playing the backseat at the moment, and that's okay. So yeah.
Right. Okay.
I feel more okay with the balance that I have, even though it's not the balance that I want. I know I need it.
Right. So this is the
responsibility, adulting thing that I hate.
Sorry, say that again.
It's adulting, right? You just have to meet your responsibilities.
Sometimes you do have to be an adult. Yeah. So, well done for actually coming up with a strategy to deal with it, because I've met and worked with teachers who really, get to the point of almost crisis, where the reports are due the next day and the marking's not done, and becomes a very stressful environment for all concerned.
Yes,
For
for sure.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
if you can avoid that
I think we've all been
in life, it'll make everything else work a little bit easier, won't it?
there. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I want to ask you as we wrap this up, how has this conversation been helpful to you today?
It helped me to really strategize and really think through what needed to be done and the practicality of working it through, which is really great. I can't bounce ideas off a wall, right? So coaching has really helped me have that that feedback that's helped me to kind of formulate practical application to life, which is it's the hard part of me moving myself forward independently, is I don't always know what's going to work, or I don't have all the ideas, and so it's always really nice to get that feedback and that input to help formulate.
Okay, so have we achieved our goal? Have we worked out how to recreate some balance?
Yeah, now I got to go do it though. So yes, we achieved the goal. We just need the practical how I move forward. I just have to do the thing.
But the reward is great, right? The reward is great.
Yes.
How are you going to reward yourself? Before we go, how will you reward it?
I think I have intentional walking is one of my other goals. So I think just getting my shoes on and going, getting some fresh air. And I have a free coffee on my punch card. So I might go get my free coffee and do some walking today. And that would be a nice reward.
Is the weather nice enough for you to take your computer to the park and work?
No, it's been drizzly, rainy / snowing. It's not been really that great.
Snowing? So you were going in the summer.
Not today. Yeah, no, we're supposed to be. Spring is reluctant this year.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, look, can I just say thank you so much for being willing to share that little window on your world with the rest of the people who are listening to the podcast and who are watching this on YouTube. I really appreciate you coming on the show today.
Well, thank you for asking. It was really fun, and I appreciate this new thing I'm going to try, and I hope it works. We'll see. I've just got to do it.
So we've left Alicia to go off and start taking some action using the Pomodoro Method, which is something she referred to, which is based on the idea of one of those little tomato-shaped kitchen timers where you set the timer for 25 minutes and then have a 5-minute break as a work practice. So it's called the Pomodoro Method because Pomodoro means tomato in Italian. Anyway, but she referred to that. And so she's using that same principle of working and then taking a short break as a way of managing her energy levels so that she can get the work done. So I look forward to seeing how she goes with that project today and works towards getting done all that marking that she had piling up. And it was definitely not sparking joy for her, but she's determined to get through it. And so I think that was a great outcome from our conversation. Just, one of those really practical conversations where you just have to work out, how am I going to get through the next few days so that I can make the space to create the life that I really want for myself. So I hope you found that helpful, and thanks for watching and listening. Take care, everyone. If this is the kind of conversation you'd like to have, here are some ways we can make that happen. You can connect with me via my website, larksong.com.au, or join the Get Out of Teaching Facebook group, or send me a message. You don't need to stay stuck in a job that makes you miserable. I offer a free 10-minute triage call to people who are ready to explore possibilities for the future. So let's have a chat. You've been listening to the Get Out of Teaching podcast. Please share it with your teacher buddies, and for show notes and other resources, visit larksong.com.au/podcast.